you're looking to buy a home here pretty soon, you're probably wondering how long the entire process takes. In this video, I'm going to walk you through the typical home buying timeline from pre-approval to keys in hand and help you avoid the delays that can slow you down. So step one is to get a pre-approval. If you're working with a lender that isn't looking to pre-approve you, you should run for the hills. That means that this lender is not very thorough, they're not vetting your information, and they're honestly just putting you at risk. But the typical type of documents that you're going to need for your pre-approval are going to be pay stubs, W-2s, driver's license, bank statements, any other asset account statements like a 401k or an IRA, and then the lender will request your credit report from the bureaus. This process is typically pretty quick as long as you have all your documentation ready. You can get a pre-approval sometimes within the day, but around 24 to 40 hours is going to be the average. If your income is a little bit more complicated, like you're self-employed and you own your own business, then it might take that lender a little bit more time to get you pre-approved. But the lender will be working with you to calculate that income, and then you'll be updated as you're moving along through the process. The pre-approval process is the quickest part. If your documentation is ready, it's only going to take maybe a day or two to get you pre-approved and get you out looking at homes. The next step is house hunting. This can take anywhere from a week to 3 months to 6 months. It just depends. Some buyers find a home on the first weekend, and some buyers may take a few months to find the right place. There are some factors that you should take into consideration as far as the timeline. How much inventory is there in your price range? Is it limited? How is the competition in the area that you're looking to buy? Is it high? And how quickly can you view homes? Are you able to go view homes during the week, or is it weekends only, or the other way around? Pro tip, if you have a strong pre-approval, not a pre-qualification, once you find the right home, then you're ready to hit the ground running and you can act quickly. When you do find the right home, the next step is you make an offer. This can take anywhere from 1 to 5 days. It just depends on the seller. It depends on how many people are bidding on the home. It depends on a few different things, but typically around 1 to 2 days, you'll be under contract. Some things that can affect this timeline as far as you getting under contract after you make your offer is, are there multiple bids on the property? Is the seller counter offering you? Are you guys negotiating back and forth? And how responsive are both agents? Agents are typically very responsive during this part of the process. So you'll get a lot of communication from your real estate agent while you're going through this. But sometimes it can take a little bit longer, especially if you're trying to negotiate something like a seller credit. Now you're under contract, or what they call in escrow. This time period on average is going to be somewhere between 21 to 30 days. It could be longer, just depending on the seller's situation, if they need a longer escrow because they need time to move out. But it also could be quicker. If you have to make an aggressive offer to get your offer accepted, sometimes you can close in as little as 12 to 14 days. But when you're in escrow, some of the things that are going to happen are your lender is going to send you a loan estimate. They're going to order an appraisal inspection. You're going to get a home inspection. Underwriting will review your initial submission or your initial documents. They typically will ask for trailing documentation. They're usually just crossing the T's, dotting the I's. If your loan officer has done a good job up front, they will have most of the paperwork that they anticipate that the underwriter is going to want. But typically towards the end of the process, it gets a little bumpy because underwriters are just trying to make sure that they're, like I said, crossing every T and dotting every single I. Then you'll get your closing disclosure that comes from the lender. This is going to have the fees almost down to the penny, and it's going to tell you how much money you need to wire into escrow for closing. Once the funds are wired from the lender to escrow, and once your funds are wired to escrow, the title company will then record the deed with your name on it. Once they're able to record the deed, then the seller gets their money, and then you will get the keys to your new home. So to recap, how long was this process? The pre-approval phase was 1 to 3 days. House hunting was 1 to 90 days. Offer acceptance, 1 to 5 days. And an escrow to closing, anywhere from 21 to 30 days. The total range on the fast end, we're talking about 30 days, including everything. Middle of the road, anywhere from 45 to 60 days. And then on the longer end, we're talking 60 days plus. How to avoid delays while you're under contract. Make sure that you get fully pre-approved, not just pre-qualified. Like I mentioned before, if your lender is not asking you for the typical documentation, like pay stubs, W-2s, bank statements, all that typical stuff, if they're not asking for that up front, I would run for the hills because they're not being thorough. They're not actually making sure that you qualify for the house. Have all of your documents ready, like the documents I mentioned before. Be quick to respond to your lender while you're in the process. The lenders will typically have a processor. The processor takes the loan from conditional approval to closing, so they're gonna be requesting any documentation or any trailing documentation that the underwriter wants to see, and then get your loan into closing. So make sure that you are responding quickly to the lender because they want to get your documents into the underwriter as soon as possible so that your loan can be signed off. And avoid any financial changes while you're going through the pre-approval process, and especially while you're going through the escrow process. And this means don't take out any new debt, don't transfer big amounts of money between accounts, and don't consider any job changes until after you've purchased the home. If this video helped clear up any confusion or was helpful, do me a favor and hit the like and subscribe buttons below. And if you'd like a free consultation with me, use the link in the description to schedule a Zoom call.